First and foremost, Rocco, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank
we
you.
really appreciate it.
Yes.
That's Sam, by the way. He's our co-host, so we can't forget about him.
No, don't forget about me.
I think, first of all, we probably should just get started right from the top. And maybe if you could, tell the listeners, and we call them stoners as part of Turning Stones.
Fair enough.
Tell the stoners a little bit about yourself, your background, and how you got here today, if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure, thank you. So, my name's Rocco Angelis. I was raised in an Italian household in Adelaide, South Australia, but I also had the fortune to live in a few other places. So my dad, I think as I was saying to you guys before, was a wonderful tailor from Italy and never quite settled well in the Adelaide of the 60s.
Yes.
And missed a lot of his Italian roots, family obviously, but he didn't let it get to him too much because he just every few years said, there's only three of us, my mother, him and myself, let's go back to Italy for a while. So I got this crazy twin roots, I call them, which I think if a tree has twin roots, maybe it's stronger. Or at least that's how I justify it. And so I was blessed with being able to grow up in an Italian-Australian household, and I love those two parts of the culture, I really do. I think that it's important for us to recognise where we come from, and to recognise where we, in my case I was born here, and where we grow up and where we live. And so I do that now through food.
Yes.
Why pizza is an interesting thing because again that's part of my background. I used to work for big companies. I used to work for major multinationals. I used to do this all over the world. What I know is a lot of the food, when I was involved with food companies, a lot of the food we made needed to have a long shelf life. And the reason why it needed to have a long shelf life was so we could make big batches of it. And the reason we needed to make big batches of it was, and not necessarily the companies I worked for, but all the ones that I know were right there beside us when we were selling into Coles, Woolworths, Tesco's when I was working in the UK and so on and so forth. The reason they needed to have big batches was so that they could be cheaper. But when you make something and put it in a packet, and it's got to stay there for a year and a half, 2 years, a year, whatever it is, its natural colours and flavours disappear. Its natural ability to stay shelf stable isn't possible. So what happens is you have to put stuff in it. You have to put colours and flavours just so the stuff in a year's time isn't grey, bland, but has some flavour, which might not be what it should have tasted like it did originally. All of this to tell you that I don't want the children of today, because I've got 3 young ones, growing up having eaten only packet food. Sometimes it's okay, but if you add up all the treats that are around today 24/7, if someone says, I'll just have one of these or just have one of those to their kids, they've probably had 20 servings of sugar by the end of the day, and that's not possible. All of these things combined make me love what I do even more because we get the chance to make from the ground up, from scratch, the carbohydrate that we use and to source some of the cleanest, best quality, fresh produce that we can put on this flat bread, which is pizza. I love what I do, and I spent many years in corporate planning my escape from corporate, so to speak, although I loved what I did then. But I couldn't be happier since 2002 I started learning in Italy, and 2004 I came back to Australia. So let's say since 2004, 16 and a bit years, going on to 17, that I've been in the pizza business. And I'm in the nutrition business or nutrition chef business because my wife and I are both intolerant to, she doesn't stomach gluten and starches very well, fructose, and I'm intolerant to yeast. So for me, this food that we make is a complete food.
Just on that, with gluten, now it's becoming a big trend at the moment, gluten-free, but not necessarily everyone is gluten intolerant. However, I think today that we haven't changed, or we may have changed through evolution, but I think the wheat of today is different to what it used to be 50 years ago. You think about all the pesticides, all the herbicides that they're spraying on our crops. Now, I come from a farming background, so I understand the logic of why they're doing that. Yes. It's all about yield and making as much money as they can doing what they're doing. However, there is going to be, if you're taking a shortcut to maximise your yield and your volume, you're going to pay the price eventually somewhere down the line, and you pay the price as a consumer. So you're a pizza maker, and I don't know too many around there that make their own sourdough. Also make their own dough from scratch, as fresh as you do, but also sourdough. What, I guess Sam and I are really keen on what made you so interested in sourdough?
Thanks for the question. For me, as I say, it's anything I was doing, I had to look myself in the mirror. Look, I know people in this industry, the food industry, not just the pizza industry, and their objective is very simple: make as much money as fast as you can. I find it disgusting. I find it degrading as a human being. I would never agree to do that myself. And you say, but everybody has the right to. No, they don't have the right to anything. You don't have the right to put food in someone else's mouth under the guise of being tastes good or whatever. It's not true. You have to be responsible. It's like I have to be responsible when I serve alcohol to somebody. Even a friend in your house. You can't ply them with alcohol. Say, okay, you can go home now, right? Well, think about this. You need to, if you smoke, which you shouldn't, but if you do, you need to take out of your pocket $50 for a pack of cigarettes because of the huge taxation, right? When are we going to start doing something more about food being one of our health enemies? When are we going to do that? You know, so when are we going to look after these kids who can't make decisions for themselves? So in my world, if you talk about making any food, I can't eat burgers in 9 out of 10 places because their bun is so laden with sugar, right? And fats and other things. And I just can't eat it. I feel like I've ingested a rock. You know?
Exactly. Well, actually, just speaking on that with bread, we're not going to mention their name, but a big sandwich company that's global. There's some scientists and some labs overseas, and I think in Europe, that actually did not classify the bread they use as bread. Because there's so much sugar in it.
Rather than savoury,
And when you have one of those footlongs, you think to yourself, geez, it does taste pretty good. Well, what's in there to make it taste so good?
And after the stomach gets really heavy, and you can just really feel it in there. But
So the sourdough allows you. We're in the crust business. Okay, any idiot can put, I don't know, Wagyu beef, whatever, on a pizza base, right? And it doesn't make you a pizza man.
No.
Just the crust has to be the best it can be. And so many years ago, when I fell in love with pizza because I'd quit my corporate job in London, 2002. And at the time, I made this decision to move back to Italy, and I was living in Italy on a beach, hanging out with some friends, and every day we'd have pizza and maybe a Peroni.
Of course.
So just went by, and slowly I'm going, this pizza is just good. I'm eating it every day, and it's I didn't even think that it wasn't bad for me or anything, or I didn't think anything because it was just light and fresh. It just dawned on me one day. I woke up and I go, I just want to learn everything I can about pizza, and I want to make pizza.
So the sourdough, is it popular in Italy as well? Like, is that a
traditional
method?
Well, look, sourdough is the only dough that most people around the world, but in Europe particularly, had until the Second World War. So when it became easily available to get the little yeast packets, we didn't have that. My grandmother, your grandmother, the great-grandmothers in the villages would have had this natural yeast. We call it sourdough, right, in English. It's not called that in Italian. It's called lievito naturale, or madre, the mother. And all it is it's exactly the same principle as yogurt, or very similar to. So if you're a lactose intolerant person, you may often be able to eat yogurt. because the part of the yogurt that has the lactose in it has been degraded or eaten away by the lactobacilli. Very much the same lactobacilli that is present in sourdough.
So basically the bacterias and the cultures in this.
Yeah, correct.
Yep.
See, dough, humans never had wheat dough, right? Either in the form of bread or anything else in the past, with yeast. Now, the packet yeast, right? The commercial yeast didn't exist. So the only way that you could bake a nice loaf was to let it ferment, to let it grow. But when it's doing it naturally, it takes a long time, right? It can take, in our case, up to 3 days, because that's how we cycle it, yeah? If you're at home in winter in Northern Europe, it would probably take a couple of days if you're lucky, right? And you would keep it warm by the fire, and you might, if it's in a really warm place, get it 6 to 8 hours, minimum.
Yes.
But now you have people on all over YouTube with recipes and make your own bread in 5 minutes, 45 minutes, or whatever. Like, no, you can't. No. You can do what you want, but it doesn't work for your stomach. In other words, and I'll try and make it. I don't know. I always want to make it simple, but I don't know that I've ever found a really good way. So tell me if you get it straight up. Flour cannot be eaten by us unless it's broken down. The proteins and the starches should not be ingested by us if that dough baked hasn't been allowed before it went into the oven to break down. Okay, so you have to ingest something only once it's fermented. Okay, and that fermentation process takes minimum 6 to 8 hours if we have the right conditions with enough heat in it. Or in our case, we slow it down for a slow fermentation, which is a combination of in the fridge and out of the fridge, right? With certain cycles. That takes us 72 hours. Okay? We do that for flavour and digestibility. So, if I give you flour, your body's not designed to take that. But your body never had to worry about that before. Why? Because naturally, you didn't have the little yeast packet to fool you into believing that the bread is ready to bake. Because all that yeast does is it does this, woof, okay? It produces the little bubbles. Fast-acting yeast. You can't fast-act the natural fermentation process, right?
Makes sense.
So it's only risen, if I make bread, for example, when the fermentation is complete. Right? It's just God's cycle. It's just it's done. Yes, you can bake it. It's not risen. It hasn't doubled in size. Can't use it. Right? So you'll never get something that hurts your stomach if you're using a true sourdough. Water, flour, and salt. Nothing else. Nothing else.
Can I just quickly ask? You don't use oil, but I see a lot of people that
not in sourdough.
Not
in sourdough. It retards the effect of the growth. Right? Even the salt should only go at the end and a minimal quantity, because salt is an antibacterial. We don't want that. We want the bacteria to be as light and kicking as possible. But we add the salt because I like it flavoured.
Love salt. I think we all grown up in that. In the young's house, and before you've even had something to eat, and she says, "I've already put salt in it." No, we'll put some more.
Well, look, I grew up with a father who was he had high blood pressure, so for us the salt was a minimal thing. In fact, a lot of my stance today on health was due to my late father, who made it to 78, notwithstanding having all kinds of things, right? So cholesterol, blood pressure, triple bypass, pacemaker, diabetes. He had everything, yet he was a happy, friendly, kind human being. As I say, made it to 78 because he protected himself against bad food as much as possible. We ate simply, and that instilled in me this need for medicine, food as medicine, as well as love and joy.
That's right. I think that speaks volumes. I mean, not even throwing a reference out to the Bible, but it does say in there that food is medicine, or is thy medicine, and medicine is thy food.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Fresh food.
Absolutely.
And given that you're Italian, Ferraris, and obviously you have the appreciation of them, and so do you. You're a rev head. But I mean, pretend your body's a Ferrari. Would you give it shit petrol.
No,
shit
that's
fuel.
right. You wouldn't put 91 in that.
I was going to say, how well do you think it's going to perform? It's going to work. It's going to get you from A to B, but I don't think the longevity of that mechanism is going to last.
Yeah, exactly.
How long you want it for, and also the quality of you getting from A to B. Is it there?
Yeah,
Can you go there next time? And really, you got to think of it. Engines are, well, our body is an
Absolutely.
engine. And of course, two things. Not only do you want to eat things that you enjoy, which definitely right here, you're going to eat what you enjoy, but then subconsciously you'd always want to eat something and you'd enjoy a lot more if you know it's good for you, or you know that there's not going to be severe consequences after. Like for example, people that have a slight intolerance of gluten, you know, you have your bowl of pasta, all the sugars and that stuff in there, because it's packet stuff. You quickly, you crave for another bowl. You haven't registered that you're full yet, you quickly get in a second bowl. And after you sit there and you're like this, bloated, and you're thinking, is that really healthy? Have I eaten too much, or is the starch still expanding in my stomach? I've done it many times, and I'm guilty of it, and still to this day I probably haven't learnt my lesson. It's just so damn good. But I'm just thinking, you know, the fresher pasta doesn't do that. The fresher bread doesn't do that. And of course, your sourdough pizzas don't do that.
No.
And that's what I love about your pizza, that I can eat two honestly on my own. And feel fresh.
Yeah, look, I mean, I think that's the incredible thing that I have a live example at home. My wife, if we, you know, people say to me, do you go to other pizzerias? And I say, all the time. All the time. Because I love pizza. I'm not going anywhere to be a secret spy for someone else's, you know, what's their sauce? It's because we love eating out and we love eating pizza. Now, we do have a lot of disappointment, not just with pizza, with a lot of foods. And part of it is because my wife is intolerant to the gluten and the starches of fructose. And a lot of people make pizza. Lots. Like a lot of people make coffee.
Absolutely.
Not all of it's
good.
But we don't have the pizza police out yet.
Not yet.
Excuse me, sir, madam, your pizza is substandard and you're harming people's health. We're shutting you down. Coming soon. But what does happen is a lot of people have pizza on the side of their business plan. So, I make this, but we also do pizza. Stop. Don't. Because we just make pizza, we only make a dozen of them. And we are still, as I say, only as good as our last pizza. Right? Because we mess up. And all I beg people is stop going online if you have a problem.
That's right,
Particularly with using scissors to cut your things. Instead of us cutting it for you.
We do want to get to that.
We'll get to that, definitely.
But just ask us. And most times, in fact, every time that I can recall, we've fixed anybody's problem. Right? Because when you come in here and you read my menu, it's like me going to a Chinese place and not understanding a lot of the words or the descriptions or the, you know. So we offer you a safety net, and we say, come and talk to us before, during, or after the pizza, and let us fix it. So what we love to say is that when we go out, we sometimes struggle because we've got other people making horrible fast food pizza, which, so that was a mistake, you know. And I have no problems getting up and leaving. You know, if I realise that you're a pizza fraud, it ain't happening. I'm up and I'm gone. Normally with my kids going, but Dad, why can't? It's like, shut up, get out. And the other thing is, a lot of people, as I say, do pizza on the side. So they're running this lovely restaurant. They've got beautiful ovens like ours. You know? But the truth is, who's the dough master? Who's in charge of knowing that the dough is on point with the right fermentation done properly so it doesn't hurt my stomach? You know why I say it? Because it's happened. It's happened that we've walked in, we've eaten, nice restaurant, wow, nice wine list, beautiful decor, amazing. Boy, I'm so happy for you. An hour and a half later, my wife and I go, this is, I feel horrible. Why? Because someone was probably too busy doing something else in that restaurant. Making ssure the fish was fresh or the steaks were whatever. And so the dough kind of got left behind.
Yeah.
So if you're not emphasising pizza in itself, which it deserves to be and which it should be, then yeah, of course, it's going to be subpar quality.
Yeah, absolutely. But if you go and have a burger and you feel like we feel after we go to most places, then you're going to wish that that burger had a sourdough bun.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Or a very well fermented bun. Because I'll let you in on a little secret. While sourdough is the best answer, okay, it's not a secret really, but if you use a teeny weeny amount of yeast, right, and allow for a long fermentation, 24, 48, 72 hours, again depending on the condition, you're going to still get something that doesn't hurt your stomach. For most people. In our case, even celiacs eat it. It's not a recommendation for celiacs to do that dough, just because I don't want someone faking something and then trying to sue me. Right? I've seen everything in life.
You heard it first, don't you?
But no one's tried to sue us ever. But I do know that every celiac that I've met that's come here and eaten it has had nothing but a good result, and they've posted it on our Facebook. And I only say that because of sourdough being the winner, not Rocco Pizza. So true sourdough should always be something that is your first preference, even if you're diabetic, because it really helps with not spiking the sugars. And I know because I'm pre-diabetic, so I have to be very careful with what I ingest, the quantities, the timelines, what I eat in the morning and night time. And sourdough does certainly offer some help.
Definitely, and probably the most important part of a pizza is the crust. Given that we've covered that first, I think now we've got to move on to the toppings. The elephant in the room, Sam.
Well, I think everyone's probably asking the same question, haven't they, when they're coming here? No ham and pineapple, what's the story behind it? Some people like it, I hate it personally, so I agree with it.
Deserve to be on it.
But what's the story behind it, and where did that come from?
It's really simple. It's not born of me trying to be a hard-ass Italian chef. It's not that. It's not that. What it is very simple. and I'll give you a little pre-story. At the back here, there's a fig tree. There's some figs on it. Right? And an Italian man came out from a pizza company in Italy. They supply machinery to us. And he saw the figs, and he said, "Wow, have you got prosciutto?" Of course, we got fine prosciutto di Parma. He goes, "I want to do a prosciutto fighi, which is a fig and prosciutto pizza." I go, I can't. He's a guest. I don't want to say no. And he's like, "Oh, don't you like it?" "No, I don't. No, I don't like prosciutto and melone as an antipasto. I don't like sweet and meat. I just don't like it." And there he is going out about the prosciutto. I'm like, you can keep talking all day. All I hear is expensive ham and pineapple. Right? Because I just don't do sweet and meat. Now my philosophy is real simple. A, never trust a skinny chef. B, if I don't like something, it ain't ever going to be on my menu. Okay? So if I don't like something, I can't say, you know what, you got to try. People say to me, "Rock, what do you reckon? Try this one or this one, or what do you feel like?" Sometimes you feel cheesy, sometimes you feel meaty, sometimes I want to be light and fluffy. And so there's never going to be a time where I go, "Try our ham and pineapple." It's just never going to happen. Right? Because I don't like sweet meat.
That's fair.
It also goes for in the 80s when we had to eat apricot chicken or sweet and sour pork. No, just not me. And so that's the reason. I think that makes sense. Second and most important, so the first I can't recommend it. Second and most important is nutritionally, I want people to stop feeding their kids chicken nuts and stuff, including ham and pineapple. Stop. Just stop. Don't go to a restaurant and have the sirloin steak and give your kids the $10 nuggets. Don't. Stop. Chicken nuggets and fries or anything in fries. Kids are not second-rate citizens.
You're right.
They do not deserve to be fed a horrible, cheap and nasty, ultra-processed meal of crap.
Big keyword, right?
Because what? Because they don't understand. So what you're doing is you're making your kids sick, and the childhood obesity rate around the world, but in Australia is horrendous. And you're also getting them channeled into something that you don't want them to be, which is processed, high sugar, high fat, high salt.
It's actually like a form of education, really. You're instructing them that that's what you're having until you become of age. And then they're going to think that's okay, and then subconsciously pass it down to generations. So I completely agree with you. First and foremost, sweet and meat, no good. Even when you go to restaurants and they give you grazing tables or you get a salami board. I like my mortadella, my prosciutto and all that. but what's these dried figs and plums and whatever? Like, nah, it's,
Simple, you
you
know.
know what I mean? Like,
Some people enjoy
give me
it.
some cheese with it. That's a good accompaniment, not a bloody preserved fig.
No, but I'm not saying you're not allowed to have it.
Yeah,
I'm just saying I can, and only because I don't like it and I can't recommend it.
Yeah.
But you say, okay, well, what about figs from your tree and prosciutto, which is a wonderfully cured meat, although high in sodium, so be careful.
Yeah.
Nothing. It's just that the ham and pineapple is ultra processed crap that they put on these. Someone says, but what if it were this kind of ham and this kind of pineapple, fresh, caramel? Knock yourself out.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
If you want to use fruit and meat together, really knock yourself out. I don't have a problem with it.
Yeah.
Just don't. All you got to do is go to your local deli section of any supermarket and you will see horrendously horrible, disgusting, diced, shredded ham and bacon bits and whatever that really bear no resemblance to food for human consumption. In fact, who knows how, what, where. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like eating hot dogs.
Yeah.
Why would I ever eat a hot dog when I can go to my local butcher who makes it for me and have an Italian coarsely ground pork and fennel sausage, which I ask him to make with the lowest amount of salt possible and fat, and my kids love it.
And when you're eating that and you look at a cross section, it's meat.
It's just that. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Again, we have to also make sure that we're not going crazy with the meat.
Yeah.
Right? So if we make for our children a ragu of beef and pork, it is jam-packed with obviously the tomato to make the sauce, but the holy trinity in Italian cuisine of onion, celery and carrot. And each one of those contributes earthy, healthy, salt, and oiliness and richness. That's why those three veg are very important, combined with the meat and slow cooked for a number of hours.
And I mean,
And a glass of wine. In the thing. Then you can drink on the side too.
So Sam and I just recently did an episode on the Margherita pizza.
Wonderful.
And obviously,
Well, without me.
well,
Where'd you go? Pizza sheet.
It was
Your
just
pizza
us.
sheet on.
So we did a bit of
research,
research. We looked, and there's no still clear-cut answer. A lot of people suggesting Queen Margherita it's named after her. It sort of originated from her. But then when we're talking about the Margherita pizza, there's a slight few variations of what belongs on a Margherita. And
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I'd like to hear what you think belongs on there, and maybe Sam might tell you what we've heard.
Let me hear what you've heard first.
Sam, go ahead.
I want to be.
Well, it's not sliced tomatoes. So some places you go to, you see sliced tomatoes. Apparently, traditional is diced, peeled tomatoes.
Crushed.
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 It was crushed.
Diced, crushed. Yes, sorry. Crushed tomatoes with the buffalo mozzarella. Was that right?
That's right.
Yes, and basil. Was that all it was?
Yeah.
I think that was all. Yeah. Pretty basic.
So the colour of the Italian flag is red,
Yes.
white, and green.
Yeah.
Okay. So the tomatoes are red. The white is the mozzarella.
Yes.
The green is the basil.
Yeah.
The fact that someone would have eaten this before. We have a picture of Queen Margherita, the Regina Margherita.
Yep.
But the fact that someone probably in their infinite creativity put cheese, sauce, and some herbs, basil, parsley, whatever they like, a bit of garlic or whatever, on a flatbread that's called pizza. Probably happened, since we had tomatoes in Italy, which was after the Americas. Because we had no tomato.
Yeah, you would have thought it's happened many times before that. And I mean, just to call it pizza and formulate it and keep it round and all that sort of stuff, I'm sure other cultures would have had some sort of bread, a bit of topping on top, a bit of cheese, whatever.
The Greeks used to have a flatbread that they had, pizza, coincidence? Not really. The whole Mediterranean basin had flatbread.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Now, the fermentation of it, the whole... See, the ovens that are hot, big brick, wooden-fired ovens, they were normally owned by bakers. Those bakers, when they went to bake their bread, needed to get the temperature of the floor to a certain heat that allowed them to put the bread loaves on it without burning. And bread is cooked at about anywhere between 180 to 120 degrees for anywhere between 20, 40, 60 minutes.
Yeah.
It depends on a lot of
Yeah.
your recipe and your ingredients.
Yeah, yeah.
The hydration and so on and so on. Now, what happened was they would normally flatten out discs of dough to put onto the floor of the oven
Right.
to absorb some of that heat.
Right.
Right.
A lot of that is how pizza came about in Italian modern systems. Did somebody put flat dough on a stone, a rock, a hot rock in Roman and ancient Greek times? Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, they would have had, in Greece, they would have had, apparently, things like honey, a style of cheese, maybe a feta style of cheese, olives, herbs, right? And they would have eaten that and loved it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Roman same. You know,
Yeah, exactly.
obviously olive oil.
Yeah.
But it's a simple thing. It's a simple meal of a flatbread with fresh natural ingredients.
Yes.
We make complicated pizzas for people, but we love making the margherita, which is what we're talking about, because, or even just a pomodoro, just the plain tomato, olive oil, and a little bit of oregano or whatever. It lets you taste so much more.
Oh, of course.
But convincing someone to have a plain pizza like that, even if you give it to them for a very cheap price, no, that's not what people in Australia want. They do want it to be a meal, and that's okay. Do you know what I mean? So we allow for people to have more or less toppings.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean? But when it comes to the margherita, I make a perfect margherita. I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm saying we call it that. And the reason is what you should never do in pizza is there's a French dish called bouillabaisse. Have you ever heard of it? It's a fish stew. Right? When you make this, but many other dishes, but this one with fish particularly, it takes into account the different cooking times to achieve the right result in taste, texture, and cook, obviously, for the fish. So you don't just go and grab a pot and throw everything in at once. Right? It talks to I put this in, I do this, or maybe I stir fry this, I put this. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Pizza's the same. You don't just get something like a base. Some people that make pizza, sell pizza, actually buy the base. All right, that's a different story.
Another podcast.
And the gluten-free one is another podcast as well, if you like, but which we would never make for a good reason. And then you put on it all kinds of stuff right, on this base. You need to have harmony. You need to have a concept of what's going on. Do you know what I mean? But if you're making a margherita and you're putting on the sauce and the cheese, the mozzarella, or whatever you want to put on it, but it should be a mozzarella. I don't believe it should ever be buffalo, and I'll get back to that. You need to then bake that. The problem, and there's a famous Italian chef, master in sourdough as well, who actually cooks the base separate, cooks the mozzarella separate, in a little dish that drains it, because fresh mozzarella is actually watery. Fresh buffalo mozzarella is even more watery because it retains more moisture because it's a fattier, creamier milk, which is why it's so bloody delicious. But for that reason, and I don't care what my Neapolitan friends say, I would never put buffalo on a pizza because it makes too much water. Right? It's a puzzle.
Soggy,
They don't care, they eat their pizza with a spoon anyway.
Like a soup.
Sorry. But I'm not a lover of Neapolitan style pizza of the ilk which has that soggy wet centre and ginormous borders. Because I don't like eating more bread than I need to. I eat pizza for the crust and topping experience. If I want bread, I'll bake myself a loaf. Right? So, and that's fine. Unless you have in your mind that you're going to eat the crust with cheese, salami, olives, and anchovies or whatever. It's a side dish, and that's okay too, right? But for me, when you're making a margherita, you make it as a double bake. Right? So, crushed tomato, and in the tomato there's only olive oil, salt, and a little touch of garlic. Okay? No respectable Italian pizza chef, right? Famous last words. Believes that you need to pre-cook the sauce. Okay?
Right, so just fresh.
It's always fresh.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's included in your plan of what that recipe is. In other words, I have the tomato, which has an acidic content,
Yep.
which should be naturally sweet, so I never add sugar,
Yes.
right? There's no sugar should go into anything ever. Okay, in a pizza kitchen, there should be no sugar ever, right? So it's a natural sauce, clean and fresh, from crushed tomatoes,
Yeah.
right? An easy way to do that is to open a can of cooked tomatoes. By the way, in Italy and in Australia, Italian households all over the world do not grow their own tomatoes necessarily.
Yes.
Every time they want a bloody plate of pasta with pomodoro,
Yeah.
right? We go to the supermarket, buy an Italian tomato.
Yeah.
And I've tried the non-Italian ones and they're not as good. So Italian, in this case, and everything else that can be sourced locally, 100% local where it's possible. Whole tomatoes, right? Crush with your hands like this.
Yeah.
Toss it in a pan for pasta, or add salt, garlic, herbs. We add a bit of parsley, not oregano, not normally Italian.
Okay.
That's a Provençal style French. So we don't add oregano unless we're adding it to the Neapolitans do a marinara, and that's okay. The oregano always after oven because it's too delicate for a 400 degree oven. And so that fresh sauce we saute it, put it on pasta from a can, from a whole tomato, shake the can, make sure it doesn't make squishy noises. It should be compact. We don't want it full of water. Right? That same sauce goes onto your pizza. That pizza goes in the oven. Nothing else on it.
Right.
Okay?
So just the dough and the sauce.
Correct.
Yep.
Right.
Because if you're making a margherita pizza with a fresh mozzarella, or a low moisture mozzarella, which is the one that's harder, right? Or a fresh one, you would have had to cut it beforehand, let it drain, because there's too much water up there. All right. And the buffalo one is too good to do that. It's not necessary, right? But by all means do it. You have to cut it, drain it. If you really want to use the mozzarella, of course. Like you strain yogurt, right? Once it comes out of the oven, put your mozzarella on top, okay? Put it back in the oven.
All right. Second cook.
The mozzarella then must always remain white. Those idiots that I see on TV who have got a I've browned the cheese on my pizza or my lasagna. Okay, you're an idiot. Okay? No, you don't brown cheese. Cheese is not meant to be brown unless it was yellow to start with, and then it was shit cheese that you've now made worse. Okay, and I don't mean yellow because it was good Gouda cheese. You know where my wife comes from. I mean it was yellow because it was really crap mozzarella, cheap and nasty mozzarella for so-called pizzas. So what I'm saying to you is cook the base. Get that tomato nice and cooked a little bit. So you don't pre-cook the sauce. You cook that sauce on the pizza. You bring it out. You put your mozzarella on top. You put that mozzarella back into your hot oven for a little bit of time, because all we're trying to do is just let it gently melt a little bit, but it must stay white. It must stay creamy. The texture must not, we're not. That's not meant that.
No.
In Italy, you don't see commercials doing that unless it's Domino's, which is launched in Italy, and that's really good stuff. And they're doing quite well. Because people love having a hot pizza delivered if it's hot. Then we bring it out, and only then do we add fresh basil and extra virgin olive oil. Okay, 3 stages. Obviously, all the stages beforehand of preparing the ingredients. The dough is a different story, but that's how we make a margherita, and that's how it should be made. That's how I was taught in the old country, and that's how I enjoy eating it because it just makes sense.
That's pretty similar to what we found out and through our research and whatever. I guess just the controversial part is what kind of cheese are you using, and that's been discussed. Whether it's your standard cow's milk mozzarella, buffalo mozzarella,
or a low moisture, which is a very respectable mozzarella. And there's nothing wrong with it, and people use it. In Italy, there's a lot of versions of it. Some very good, some you shouldn't use because it's a cheap byproduct of mozzarella.
Then, basically talking about cheese, does it depend on the pizza that you're eating in regards to what cheese you put on? So mozzarella is a very well-known cheese around the world, and everyone associates that with pizzas, right? But a lot of pizzas have another cheese called fior di latte,
which is also mozzarella.
a little bit different.
It's the fresh mozzarella. Fior di latte, cream of milk, flour. It's the cream that rises to the top kind of thing in the expression of Italy, and it's that fresh mozzarella, right? So we happen when we use that version of cheese, and we do it for a few quite a few ingredients that we also produce here.
Yep.
One of them is our house burrata, which we cream in-house. We use a treccia, which is a beautiful fresh mozzarella from one of our local producers here in Adelaide, which make a very beautiful cheese. For some recipes, we use a low moisture cheese, mozzarella still, white. But we do that because, again, as you're looking at the harmony of the pizza between crust and the toppings, you're also making sure that sometimes you want to make a beautiful pizza that's never going to be wet.
Yes.
Right? So if you have too many wet, for example, mushrooms in winter are waterlogged often. So you're going to be careful with the moisture content going onto that pizza if you've also got greens and other things.
Of course.
Right? So you're going to end up with a soggy pizza. What you don't want is a fresh tomato, and mozzarella that's leaking water everywhere.
Absolutely. And as you said, you don't want to eat your pizza with a spoon after.
I don't like it myself.
So cheese.
Or with a knife and fork.
Exactly.
Because we only use scissors.
Well, let's get to that.
Yes.
The scissors.
Why
Scissors? It's been a, obviously we've seen a few things on social media, people complaining and having issues with this.
And we love your, I guess, response to the critics out there. And I think that's actually a bit of a point of difference for not only you personally, but for your business, and the fact that you're in a very calm state. You respond respectfully and maturely to those that criticise, regardless of the criticism. So you're not just publicising and acknowledging all the plaudits and all the positivity, but you're also actually acknowledging those that aren't happy, and you are finding a way to rectify their problem, whether it's a chat in person, a secondary visit, whatever it is. We commend you on that, because that probably needs to happen a lot more.
Definitely.
And one of the, I guess one of the reviews that we sort of looked at was a female complaining about the pizza not being cut.
Yes.
Sam was pretty much all over it, and I guess, you've eaten a fair bit of pizzas in your life. And I mean, me personally, I've eaten pizzas on a few continents and at Italian places, and I like authenticity. So I've gone to New York and an Italian place there. I've gone to Rome, Italian place there. Weirdly enough, I went to an Italian authentic person in Mykonos in Greece, on the island.
Awesome.
And I had it there. It's a bit different, but the one thing I did see more often than not is that they were cut.
Yes, and I think in Adelaide, I haven't seen a pizza that has not been cut. So the question is why, and I guess where do they come from? Where's the, what's the idea behind it? Is it,
It's very simple. A couple of things happen in the world of baking bread and pizza as a flatbread. You never bake a bread, bring it out of the oven, and cut it. It just doesn't happen. Why?
Spot on.
Because you destroy it. Like the thing is just going to go. The minute you put even a bread knife, it's going to go. That's right. It's going to flatten. It's going to destroy the structure. Plus, it's not set. It needs to be ready for. Now, whilst bread is a bigger loaf, so it takes 20 minutes, half an hour to cook. Pizza takes 3 minutes minimum for it to set. The most important reason isn't just the crust needing a little bit of time to come out of a 400-degree oven and be calm. When it comes out of a 400-degree oven, the pizza, if you laser temperature test it, you'll find it's anywhere between 80 and 100 degrees. The cheese on the sauce side, not to mention any other liquefiable ingredients, are just that, hot lava almost. Do you know what I mean? The last thing I'm going to do is inflict these horrible wounds onto this pizza where everything that's still hot and liquid runs straight down into those crevices. What am I going to have by the time I'm eating my last slice? A sloppy mess. Right? So the fact that a lot of other places don't know any better and have trained people to eat this pizza is one thing. But the problem isn't one of people don't cut the pizza because they don't want you to have a bad experience. The problem is they don't need to worry about it if they're using a long bake at a lower temperature in not a wood-fired oven. Right? So you're saying, what does that mean? Okay, you're in a place that may even make good pizza, but they're using a tunnel oven or even a rotating oven, whatever that's electric or whatever. And they cook that pizza for a long time. Ours is cooked in 90 seconds to 2 minutes to a minute, depending on what the toppings are. When you cook a pizza for that long, you dehydrate it.
Yes.
It's not a pizza anymore, it's a cracker.
Yeah.
You may have even put it through a machine that kind of rolls it, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, so you've taken out all your air bubbles in that way.
Yes.
Okay. So now what's happening is they've made you a cracker and they've biscuited it by baking it for 10, 15 minutes or whatever it is, 8 minutes, 10 minutes, I don't know what it is. They pull that out of the oven, it's dry.
Yeah, so they can cut
It's
it.
dry,
Yeah.
it's crispy.
Yeah.
Our pizza is not crispy, our pizza is supple, right? It's thin, but it's not crispy, right? Because it's not meant to be crispy as such. People say thin and crispy. Yes, we have that in Rome, but it's ultra thin when you want that size. And ours is thin, but not that thin. And plus it's not in the oven that long, right? So when they pull that pizza out of the oven that's been baked for an ultra long time, okay, compared to 90 seconds, it's easy. They can literally lift it like this on it. It's a piece of cardboard, right? God knows what the dough is most time. You can cut it and nothing will seep anywhere because it's not a moist pizza. You understand what I'm saying? So it's a very simple conversation to have with people. Apart from that, in Italy, you never get a cut pizza because it travels better. Do you know what I mean? Because you need that pizza to stay whole during the travel process.
That's right.
Right? And when you get home with scissors, which is what most Italians would do, you cut it. Right? It's cut. No one has a problem with cutting food with scissors when it comes to chicken or whatever.
True,
right? You know, like in chicken shops. Well, in pizza terms, I grew up in Rome. A lot of the places where you have pizza by the slice, use scissors or a big knife, you know, and it's a normal thing. And most people at home would not have a problem in Italy using scissors. It's normal.
I guess that's where it's frustrating for you as well, because people probably don't know where the history comes and what the theory is behind it all. And then they take that pizza and they think, oh, it's not cut, whatever. Now I'm going to go online and put a review and say pizza wasn't cut, but they don't even know why you're doing that. They don't even ask you.
But
that's what
why not ask? And why not start from a position of respect for the artisan, for the people who know what they're doing?
That's right.
Why are you trying to teach me?
Exactly.
Just be respectful. Not just for the white beard and the 55 years of age, you know, but the fact that you in your social media world believe that it's okay to get onto a keyboard and totally look. This is me here in Rome. It's 1988. 30 years, 30 kilos ago. Right? Now, have some respect for someone who's dedicated their life to an art form. In Italy, we call it l'arte bianca, the white craft, right? Because it has flour in it. So it's white. But the people like, not just me, there's millions of them all over the world who love what they do. And who are genuinely wanting to share that. We'll share it with you happily. I'm not a grouchy old, I'm not the soup Nazi. So if you call me and ask me the question, I'll give you the answer while you're here. Right? But those people, and they're not that many, but I enjoy responding to them. I did major in English at uni, so I kind of enjoy a crafted word or wordsmith response. I think the shame is that you didn't want to ask a question and get an answer.
That's right.
You just wanted to go on social media.
And at the end of the day, it's your this is your business. This is your livelihood. People don't even stop to think. Oh,
no, I have a family.
That's right.
Everyone that works here has family.
Exactly.
But they don't care. They don't care about that. And to me, I don't. Because I found a way to turn that around. I honestly have wonderful responses to my social media responses. You want it to be heard? Here, I'll put it on my thing. There you go. I don't know why I get accused of shaming people when they put it out on social media. You wanted a bigger audience? Here it is.
And why would you produce something to the detriment of the end consumer? Like, why are you not cutting? Are you trying to punish your consumer? So you're actually trying to better their experience. The best analogy that you've come up with, and it was right at the top of the question, was, would you cut fresh bread straight out of the oven? Absolutely not. And you know what? You see this as another piece of artwork, or it's a piece of art, and of course, the hot lava on there, you're not going to destroy and get it all in all those nooks and crannies and crevices. I completely understand.
And honestly, it just tastes better if you cut it one slice at a time. Also, I even counsel people, I say, don't just, when your pizza arrives, just cut it all up and then eat it one slice at a time. Because again, you're falling back into this American fast food concept, right? Take your time, cut one slice, eat that one slice. Have a conversation.
Yeah, there you go.
Don't get on your mobile phone, particularly if you've got your kids and wife with you.
Yeah, why not?
You know, this is a place to break bread. And if it's a flat bread with toppings.
There's nothing better than with good company and good food. This is the place where the memories are made. The simple things in life. And we're talking simple things with pizza. Now, we of course, you know, we've been in a few places around the world, and you're pretty well travelled, not only living in different places, but working in different places. Different regions of maybe Italy or even here, some would put a lot of toppings on, some are very basic. I remember having a pizza in Rome and it came out just blotches of cheese randomly. Like it looks like it wasn't perfectly, it wasn't like a picturesque thing that you find in the Louvre. It was just a couple of salami slices, a couple of blobs of cheese. Right? Did it look picturesque? I wouldn't say it's Instagram worthy, but bloody delicious. Right? Seriously. Your thoughts, should pizzas be basic with 2 or 3 ingredients on top, or should they be complicated like how we have here? Like the Supreme pizzas here in Australia. They've got everything but the kitchen sink.
Including pineapple too.
I think you should have anything you want on your pizza. Okay. I just think it has to be healthy. I think you have to make good choices. So there are days when you may feel like just plain tomato pizza with olive oil. And it's that simple, because I grew up in Rome as a kid, and the bakery, the Forno, would, and even last year when we were in Italy, my kids couldn't wait till 10 o'clock, the local Forno bakery, which made bread and everything else, but at 10 o'clock their pizzas, their big long pizza alla pala, as we call it in Rome, would come out from the oven, and they would be red or white, basically. So like a focaccia with olive oil, or maybe with a little bit of prosciutto or something like that, but they were ultra simple. You really got this beautiful dough. Having said that, there are days where maybe someone feels like more. Lots of cheese. Lots of suppressor, or lots of sausage, or and the question isn't how much you put on it for me. You can load the whole thing up to the sky. I've done my job, and that job consists of 2 things. One, I've given you a dough that won't hurt your stomach, right? And that if you don't put too much with it, you can taste, or at least with the crust. But I've done that, and every topping you want on it, I've guaranteed that it's good enough for my 3 young children to eat. Because in fact, my kids eat here, and the ingredients I regularly have in my house. All of the ingredients here are eaten by my family, because that's how I source them, right? So we don't have B-grade toppings at the shop, and the good stuff from my house, of course, right? It's all the good stuff, because I eat here too. My family eats here. Do you know what I mean? My friends eat here.
For you to feed what you have here to your family at home, it just goes to show that you are not, you know, I guess, taking any shortcuts.
No, but I think sometimes it's the reverse. It's like I'll be out shopping for the family, but this is a good ingredient, I like that. I'm going to get that for the shop. Do you know what I mean? Or I like this salmon or this whatever. I'm going to put that on a pizza. Do you know what I mean? So it kind of works like that. I do the shopping and the cooking in my house. My wife makes great reservations. And she does more work than anyone can ever talk about. She just doesn't like cooking, but she's now Nigella Lawson for the baking department. Oh my gosh, she's discovered baking like it's nobody's business. She even made a banana bread with no added sugar, wholemeal flour for me. She loves me, that lady.
And a nice cafe on the side. Life's good, isn't it?
Absolutely.
One other thing is the delivery side of the system. Now, we just spoke before the start of the podcast, and I'm just going to let the stoners know what we actually did speak, is that I've had your pizza before. Well, actually, maybe not. I've eaten what you've produced, but not here, and that's probably a big mistake. And then you said to me, oh, so you've tried my pizza, but not here, so technically, I haven't had your pizza. How important
but
is
that's
it?
my best pizza.
Exactly. How important is it, first and foremost, to have a pizza within 5-6 minutes after it's come out of the oven? And also, for those, well, maybe we'll get to that, and then I've got another question.
Yeah, look, I mean, we believe that the best way to eat the pizza is out of the oven
Yeah.
after you've given it a rest. We also believe that you can have pizza that's travelled, but there are certain ways to do this.
Yeah.
Okay? And since very few follow those rules, we used to have Uber and Menu Live and all this stuff, and we killed all of it because they didn't give a toss about my pizza, and I don't give a toss about them.
Just threw your takeaway pizza box into the car, probably put it vertically. Who knows what they would have done.
All of this stuff did happen.
Yeah, I did witness
We never ever would give a pizza to anybody without some form of bag that they carry, thermally insulated bags. Those bags are horribly useless though, because they just make your pizza sweat.
Yeah, get soggy.
And if it's cut, it's even worse.
Yeah.
So people would rave about it, and the reason is because the pizzas that they'd had up until then were so bad, in my opinion, that ours was just good enough for them to think it's a good pizza. But it's not my pizza. My pizza you eat out of the oven.
That's right.
Or we've invested a whole bunch of energy and money into buying new pizza delivery vehicles and building one and putting ovens in. So our little Chiarari, which is a little Chiapacanta, it's red, has a big red box in the back of it, which is an Italian imported oven, which costs as much as the car roughly. By the time it's all imported and installed, and it's driven by an iron lithium battery. So it literally can deliver a pizza hot to you from that oven in its box. And that pizza, I'm really comfortable serving it to you if you live half an hour away. We won't do a delivery half an hour away unless it's a catering order, which is big enough. But we zip around all from here to the beach, areas, and we can deliver a hot, not soggy because it has an anti-condensation thing in it, so that we can give you a pizza that's the opposite of all the bad things, which is, my pizza's cold, it's soggy. So those things have disappeared now. So now you can have a good experience with our pizza delivered by us. The other thing we do is we have a big ginormous oven on the back of a ute, which is our pizza truck, and we can cater. And in fact, we're reopening on the 2nd of Jan to do a birthday party where people are getting a whole bunch of pizzas, which we'll make up on that day and put on our hot oven, transport them hot.
Perfect. That's what I think is great about what you do as well, Rocco. Is that you look at something, you try to improve it, you try to make it better for the customer, and not, like you said, not just try to line your pockets, try to make the best experience. You made an investment, like I said, with the oven in the car, outlaying a lot of cash. I mean, but you're providing a better service to the customer. So I think it's really good.
As I say, we only make pizza, and we're only as good as our last pizza.
Absolutely.
So you put everything into that. Only that. You're bound to get something that hopefully sets you apart.
That's it. And I guess we don't have any pizzas here and now, and all this pizza talk is actually making me pretty
And I can't even help you because we don't do lunch.
So I think, you know what, we're going to have to do a little part 2, and I reckon we're going to have to actually get a few pizzas. Rocco, you have to join us. We'll get a pizza each, and we'll go through the anatomy, and we want to maybe enjoy one with the listeners as well.
Absolutely. It'll be my great pleasure.
Honestly, Rocco, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
We thoroughly appreciate it, and I can't wait to come in
And Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, boys. Thank you.